Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode. I am JB, and joining me is the incredible, amazing, and indestructible Mark Marsh.
Thank you for having me.
So, a bit of an odd one today. We're going to be fan casting for the future Fred Jones. So, if one of us were to make a new Scooby-Doo movie, who would like to play Fred? Now, I want to kind of reiterate, I had a preconceived idea of who I wanted for Daphne and Velma, who we've seen. When it comes to the male characters of Mystery Inc., I have no idea for the most part. So, this may be the worst takes we've ever had, but it may be the best takes because I think we've kind of maybe come into this a little bit more open-minded. So I guess Mark, if you wanna like kick us off, I'll listen to your number five.
Okay, so my first one is Alexander Calvert. He was in Supernatural.
How do you spell
Um,
the surname? Is it Calvert?
Calvert. He became God in Supernatural.
Oh, I think I've seen him in some stuff, you know. I've not maybe not seen him
Only
in
because of the shape of
Supernatural.
his face and just his posture alone and the hair, I feel like a blonde look he could pull off. Even if Fred had natural, like dark hair anyway, I feel like we don't change the hairstyle. Fred, I'll be happy with that as long as it's got the leader and you know role to it because that's what Fred is. Fred's the leader. He's got to be quick on his feet. He's pretty much a trap expert, so you got to really take in all this because he can't make mistakes. He has to think quick on his feet. So that's the one I chose for my first one.
Yeah, see, I don't know him as an actor, so I can't really comment on that. But
Uh,
looks wise, I think he's got it. I mean, how old is he? Let me just check. He's 32.
32.
So he's pretty much in that area where we can get quite a lot of range in terms of who we can cast around him. And he does look the part, you know, as a leader, an authority figure. I think he would be good. I'm gonna have to check out some more of his acting stuff, but I like that, you know. I'm definitely not mad about that at all. So my number fifth choice is Chris Jenks. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with Sex Education, that series. But he played the boyfriend of Amy Lou Wood in the first couple of seasons. He appeared in like a Death in Paradise
Okay.
spin-off, Beyond Paradise. And what I'm kind of leaning at with that is he's obviously very hench. He's very tough. So
Yeah.
you've got that jock side of Fred. But if you've seen Sex Education and Beyond Paradise, the guy is kind of a lovable himbo as well. And I think that that was some of the best stuff that Freddie Prinze Jr. was able to bring to the role. Like, he was a guy that was there to be the manly man, but he also had so many moments where he just said things and did things that were very endearing, but also not particularly bright. And I don't think it's too far off Fred. Like, he said some wild stuff, like Fred in the new Scooby-Doo movies. Like, come back here, you vegetable. Like, I
Yeah.
could see him, like Chris Jenks, delivering a line like that.
He's got
And
the build as well, the height, the shoulders, and the chiseled chin as well. Like,
and his hair when he does it, like when it
yeah.
isn't all whack. I mean, I almost am a bit sorry to put him as number five because I do think he's I think he's better than four and three on my list. It's just my only thing with him is I wasn't entirely sure, you know, if he could bring the gravitas, just because I know a lot of people don't really rate the Prince Jr. version over the classic style. And I think in terms of recapturing Freddie Prince Jr., I think Chris Jenks is up there. But I think with the people that I've cast as, you know, as some of the other characters, I think I was more looking for someone who could play, you know, the Fred that we know from the 1969 series, who we've not really seen adapted yet. So that's why
Yeah.
he's number five. I mean, realistically, if my criteria was 2002 movie recreation, I think he's up there, number two and number one. But I think for now, I think I'm good with him being number five. So, who is your number four?
So my number four, and hopefully I pronounce this right. Shiloh Fernandez
Hmm. Shiloh.
with a H at the end. So Shiloh and then Fernandez.
Oh, okay. Let
He's
me
30,
just.
he's 38, but he looks the part, especially when he's got his hair like that. And
He's almost giving me a bit of like Robbie ML vibes as well, but oh. Oh, see, look, he's in Euphoria. That's what I was looking for. I don't think I found anyone, but I was actively looking at the cast of Euphoria for members of Mystery Inc. because I know that that show's like really buzzing at the moment. Oh, he was in Drake and Josh. Is that right? Oh, wow. Shiloh Fernandez.
he was in Evil Dead 2013, Return to the Sender in 2015. I think
Hmm.
2022 last year was Private Property, but he was also in Red Riding Hood, which I got to rewatch that again because I don't know. I saw him in that, but I could be mistaken. Who did he play in Red Riding Hood? He played Peter. I have to rewatch that again. Again, it came out in 2011, and it's like 2023 now, so he's definitely changed over the years in appearance.
He's definitely got that manly man look. He does some expressions that he looks a little bit like James
God, yeah, he
Franco.
looks so young in Little
Oh,
Red
not
Riding
James
Hood.
Franco. Who's James Franco's brother that was in Jump Street? Dave Franco? Something Franco. The other Franco. But yeah, I could see that. I mean, like I say, with Fred, it's so difficult to know because Fred is a character that and this isn't a disrespect to his original characterization, but he is whoever you cast.
Yeah,
That's who Fred is. Like Freddie Prince Jr. Fred became Freddie Prince Jr. Fred. Like, and so if we anyone we cast, I think, would be just a different version of Fred. Like no matter what's in the script, Fred's going to be defined by who's playing him. So we could have a really good concept for recreating the 2002 movie. Equally, we could be doing our own thing. Like I don't hate Robbie ML at all because it is just Robbie ML Fred. So I'm open to anyone as Fred, really.
oh, and he's also in Nicolas Cage's new movie, The Old Way,
Oh, but
which
yeah, I think.
everyone's it's got like mixed reviews on there. But I think because it's an old Western movie type thing, which no one sees anymore, that's why people are hating it. But it's a good film.
I'll definitely check it out. So number four for my list is one that I'm not as happy with as Chris Jenks because I am like just die hard for the 2002 cast and stuff. But I got thinking about upcoming actors, actors that we could see define a role and potentially play a role for the foreseeable future. So what I got with number four is Asher Angel, who plays the young version of Billy Batson in the Shazam movies because I always feel that one of the things I've heard from Shazam 2 is Zachary Levi was good, he was funny, but he couldn't handle the emotional weight of some of those scenes. Like the way that Asher Angel acts in Shazam 1 and 2 in regards to the found family dynamic, the fact that he
Yeah,
felt abandoned by his mum, but he found a new family. I feel like the story of Fred Jones in Mystery Incorporated,
oh, yeah, because he
he would be
plays Billy
perfect
Batson.
for. And I feel like he's a better actor than people give him credit for. It's just those scenes where he's talking to his mum or about his mum. It reminds me so much of. Do you remember that conversation that Fred and Daphne had in Mystery Incorporated, where Fred's like, "I'm sorry if I've been so controlling lately, but I just don't want to lose anyone like I lost my parents," and like that conversation.
Yeah,
I think he's that. That's what I'm thinking. And he's got the rising star, 20 years old. Maybe not the looks you'd expect, but you
but
know,
he is young
there.
still. He's 20, so maybe he might develop more in later years. But he was in two pop. But Shazam: Fear of the Gods did really well.
I think people didn't mind. I think money wise, I think it did
I don't think it
great.
made a lot of money, but the first Shazam did.
And the first Shazam was good, I'd even rate it. Oh, I mean, I'm not great on DC normally, so maybe I'm not the best person to ask, but I rate Shazam quite highly in terms of
Yeah,
DC
it
stuff.
was really good. I know the newest one people are liking the Flash, but I just because like I feel like the Flash one might just be too much because of the actor, because of all stuff going on at the moment with him.
Yeah, maybe a bit dicey. Maybe a bit dicey. But yeah,
Yeah,
Asher
because
Angel, I think,
yeah,
could
because
do it.
Miller's got all those allegations of kidnapping and abuse behind him, but they still went ahead and done it. The only bit I'm looking forward to is seeing Michael Keaton back as Batman and Ben Affleck back as Batman. Those are the reason why I want to see it.
But it's good. It's good. I think looking at DC right now is probably some of the best indications of who could be in a Scooby-Doo movie, just because it is very much, that under the Warner Brothers umbrella. So if people are consistently being cast in DC roles, then they're going to know that they're reliable for something like Scooby. So I think looking towards that superhero realm isn't bad at all. So that was my number four. Do you have a number three in mind?
Yeah, so my number three. Now, this actor is old, but I was thinking maybe they can play an older version of Fred
Hmm.
in a sense.
Yeah,
Sometimes
I
you
see
got to look at
that.
them as old adults looking back at fond memories. They could do that kind of thing, and I went with Wentworth Miller.
Oh, the name
He was
sticks
in
out to
prison. He was
me.
in Prison Break,
Was he
and
Captain Cold?
yeah, and he was Captain Cold
Oh,
as well. I just feel like he could play like a more older version of Fred, and that's why I chose him for my third one.
is he? I like his acting, and I think he was some of the best parts of those early seasons of,
And
Legends
because
of
I know
Tomorrow.
for Legends of Tomorrow, he improvised a line with with Vandal Savage when Vandal Savage goes, "I'm Vandal Savage, conqueror of worlds. Who are you?" Leonard Snark, robber of ATMs.
Yes, I remember that.
That's an improvised line. I was like, that's the best ever robber of ATMs. I love
Yeah,
that
that would
scene.
be good.
Oh,
Maybe even if they were doing a live action Scooby Apocalypse as well, they
yeah.
could do something like that.
They could play.
Yeah. You know what? I actually don't dislike that at all. He could definitely do it. He could definitely do it. I'm not too sure about my number three though, because it's coincidental that you mentioned The Flash, because I thought that my third would be Grant Gustin. So he's
That's
a
a really good one.
like I don't like he's got the muscles now from the Flash. He is the leader very much of that Star Labs team. He can do the commands, but he can also take feedback and work in a team dynamic. He's just finished the Flash, so and I'm not saying he's struggling now for stuff to find, but he is well open for different projects, either for short term or long term. And I think I read in an article somewhere that the director of the Flash movie, the upcoming one, originally wanted to have Grant Gustin do a cameo in it, but they couldn't work it out in terms of timing. But
Yeah.
current DC, current Warner Brothers, is showing willingness to work with him again.
Because I
But
feel like
I
he's
think
probably
he'd
the
be
best
good.
Flash that we had.
Yeah, I
I thought
love that
if they
series.
were ever to reboot the Flash as a movie, they could get Grant Gustin to play the Flash. Because I still think as well with the Arrow, I think Stephen Amell should play a real life version of the Green Arrow in movie format because it works so well. I feel like we're so used to them as the show that they're the embodiment of what we want to see in those characters. I think Grant Gustin is an amazing pick.
My only issue with him, well, not my issue, but I think the community's issue is I'm not convinced he could rock the blonde look. So I think it may be a Robbie Amell where he just has his natural hair.
Yeah,
Maybe he tries a wig, but I'm okay with that. I wasn't. My issue with Robbie Amell isn't, why doesn't he have the hair? Like, I'm okay with him not. So I'd be okay with just Grant Gustin rocking up as Grant Gustin doing his Fred thing. Because he's also got that kind of innocence as well that I think Fred has. Like he just has that figure about him, that kind of
I
innocence
just hate how the
leader.
Flash is coming to an end.
Yeah, I haven't watched the last couple of seasons just because I haven't been able to find it on
I'm on the
DVD.
last
But
season, and I'm just there like I really like. I that it's such a shame to see it go. It was heartbreaking when the Arrow went because Arrow was like
I've seen some of
the
like the
darkest thing
clips.
I've seen. Is like it's like Batman. He's like Batman, but he claims to have to be the first vigilante. They even when they did the Crisis episodes crossovers when they went to Gotham, and he's like Batman's just an urban myth. I'm the real vigilante. He's like I feel like Batman as well. Batman and Arrow probably like OG.
Yeah, I just have so much nostalgia for that
But you know,
era of like the
earlier
CW.
we were on about voice acting, how different it is to acting.
Yeah.
Probably the best one to look at that is the Vixen movie that came out so there was a movie and a series that came out 2015 to it called Vixen, 2 seasons. It has the voice actors of Grant Gustin and Stephen Amell. Why
Mm.
watch that after the day and you get a good understanding what I mean. Like voice acting
Oh
is a lot harder
wow.
because they sound different.
They were literally in character as well. Green
Yeah,
Arrow. That's
but
mad.
they
I
didn't
love
like
that.
they didn't sound too good as voice actors in animation format because they didn't have the oomph and the spark because there's a lot of different environment.
Yeah, there's the same thing that I love the character. I don't know if you've watched Agents of Shield, but Fitzsimmons, they were like really great in the end. And they tried to do like a guest spot on Ultimate Spider-Man, and it was nice to see them. But yeah, the voice is just they were great actors, but the voices just weren't on the level of some of the professional voice actors that they had there. So I do understand that. It's a real craft. So that's my number three. Do you have a number two in mind?
Yeah, so number two, I don't think people will agree with this one. I went with Tom Holland.
Ooh. You know what
Only
though?
because I loved his performance in Uncharted. So I feel like he can escape that Spider-Man role to play other roles with Uncharted. So I want to see him in another Uncharted movie, but I believe like if he were going to be doing a Fred one, he can pull it off. He has the hair. He's still young, 26, but he looks young in the face, so he can definitely play a younger version of Fred if he wanted to.
Oh, and you know what as well? I think eventually I'm gonna, yeah, because here's the thing. Like I said with Fred, he isn't an expendable character to me, but he is very much a what you cast as. The actor's gonna mold that version of Fred, a new version of Fred. And I'm thinking, if you're gonna hire a big name as well, I think Fred's probably one of the best people to do it in because I don't know. Maybe I'm just less precious about him. So when I look at Tom Holland, I think it will be difficult for me to not think, oh my gosh, it's Spider-Man. But at the same time, he's definitely got the acting capabilities on some of the things he's done outside of Spider-Man, and I think he's definitely got the name as well.
Yeah,
Like Tom Holland is Fred Jones. I think it's not a bad shout at all. Not a bad shout. But just so difficult for me to switch off from him being Spider-Man. But yeah, I mean, Fred's really, in general terms, he's just bloke. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe people will disagree with my take on Fred, but yeah, I think he could do it. I think he could do it. So was that your number two?
That was my number two. Yeah, my number
Okay,
one will probably shock everyone.
it might shock the world. My number two is I think very a bit too generic, a bit too safe. But that's why I've kind of put them on there. I've got Lucas Till, who played Havoc in X-Men First Class and those movies. And what compels me is his hair. He's got the blonde. I think the first natural blonde we'll have as Fred.
He's
He's got
32. He doesn't. Jesus Christ, he looks younger than
Yeah, he's
that.
got the youthful attitude. He can
Wow.
pull off that
Okay.
aesthetic. But not only that, it's just his role as Havoc. Yeah, a bit reckless, a bit rough and ready in First Class. But then when we get to Apocalypse, Dark Phoenix, no, yeah, Apocalypse, he's really a mentor to the Scott Summers Cyclops at that point, and just his attitude when it comes to being that more grown-up version of Alex Summers, very authority figure like. So I think he could be Fred. I'm thinking that for all he looks young, maybe they want to go a bit younger. But I think Lucas Till would be a pretty good choice. I think the reason why he misses out on the top spot for me is I really want to take a risk with Fred. Take Fred somewhere where we've never gone before. A little bit of that Freddie Prinze Jr., but more let's let this actor define who
Yeah.
this new Fred's gonna be. And I think Lucas Till would be good, but I think he'd be very either just Lucas Till himself, or maybe try and replicate too much of that 1969 Fred almost. But yeah. So let's have the grand reveal. Who is the top spot for Mark Marsh?
Okay. Zac Efron.
Oh,
Joe Zac Efron. Yeah.
I've seen that come up a few times, and I was
Yeah.
almost thinking when we were doing like Scoob watch throughs and stuff, the whole voice cast there really could translate well.
Yeah, because ever since he's
Interesting.
done Scoob, I feel like okay, he took it seriously because he does a lot of voice acting as well. And I was a bit hesitant. I think like you already had Frank Walker to doing Scoob. You could have got him doing Fred. And to me, it's like that what clouded my judgment. And then I rewatched it again. I'm like, I think he's got it. He could probably do it because he's had blonde hair before, so he could probably pull off the blonde. And even if not, his hairstyle alone, I'm happy with that. If that was Fred,
He's got the build, he's got the name. I've not seen too much of his acting range just because I haven't. Although that being said, no, he does have a big range because obviously he did Baywatch, which was just standard hunk. Then he did The Greatest Showman, which was very
yeah.
different. But then also, Extremely Wicked was a completely different take on his range. So I think he's definitely got the range. He'd be a returning
And
Fred.
he does do some comedy films like Bad Neighbors, so he does a bit of mixture.
So he could be the lovable himbo almost.
Yeah, because in it, and also some High School Musical. He's done films ranging from everything.
Hmm.
I think 17 again is probably the most iconic one that people remember.
And he voiced some character in the Lorax. Yeah, I'm not too mad at that. Like, I like that. I like that a decent amount, and especially a returning Fred as well. I think that would be kind of
Yeah,
cool. That would be really cool. Um,
because he said
and
he's only 35.
I think your top choice is probably going to get a lot less backlash than mine. Because mine, in a way, I've done a complete like 180 with it. I've kind of gone a bit beyond that. Like, imagine Freddie Prinze Jr., but with more of a vibe. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just gonna say who it is. It's Jack Quaid. So if you don't know who that is, he was the killer in the new Scream. Not this Scream that's out now, but Scream 5 that was just called Scream.
Oh, yeah, because when I first watched it in cinema, I couldn't remember where he was from, and it was irritating me thinking, I know he has that face, I've seen him before, and then it wasn't until I got to cinema thinking, the boys.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what threw me off about him because in the boys, he's a wimp that relies on getting his ass saved, and then in this one, he's the serial killer. I was like, mate,
So
that's the
that's the
big
thing.
that
That's the vibe. That's the
he
range I wanted. Like,
he can
think
change
about the
personalities.
2002 movie. We had Shaggy, that one, be the killer in Scream. And
Yeah,
hopefully have the Fred in this one be a killer
be the
from Scream. Like, I think it just fits. And the thing is, like you mentioned, with his range, he can play that kind of endearing, and in a way, like Fred wouldn't be a wimp, but we know he can do vulnerable and endearing, but
but he can
also he
also play
can be
Shaggy.
that. I was almost thinking about him for Shaggy as well, just
He can
because he's got that innocence.
he's
Like there was
got
a
that
meme going
innocent
around on
face.
Twitter, like this guy looks like he knows a lot about dinosaurs, and it's like he does have that innocent look about him,
Yeah, he could probably just play Shaggy as well.
and he's quite up and coming now, like with like the boys, and I think he's done some other things as well. And I was actually I didn't know it was going to be him when I watched Scream 5 because I actually really did like the guy. I thought that some of his jokes about watching Netflix and stuff were like pretty endearing. And then when he did that like turn, I'm like, no, why is it you? I liked you. So he is definitely someone that you can grow to like, but also respect from a figure of authority as well. So I don't think a lot of people are going to
Oh
agree
shit!
with
And
that.
he's
But
also playing Clark Kent in the My Adventures with Superman series.
oh, really? So yeah, he's in there with Team
Fucking
Warner
hell!
Brothers.
So he's like playing villain, hero, innocent bystander. He's playing all of these. Jeez, and he was in Rampage as well. The
Oh
Hunger
no way!
Games.
He was Marvel in the Hunger Games.
Jesus Christ, he knows how to act,
Yeah, and I think that's what Scooby needs. One
and he
that's
does, and
gonna
he does
do well.
voice acting as well because he was in the Batman: The Long Halloween, but both parts. So yes, I'll say he's familiar with voice acting work in both elements. She's good. That's probably a better pick, actually. I say he could probably be a Shaggy if wanted to.
The thing is with Shaggy, I feel that one thing you need to get right about Shaggy, and we'll probably get to this if we ever do a Shaggy fan cast, is the voice. Like that's the
Yeah,
thing. Like you can have the best actor in the world, but I feel like if they can't nail the voice the same way that Matthew Lillard did,
yeah.
it's kind of a long day.
Because in the movie, I got like fixated. Everyone got fixated like that. He has to come back and voice Shaggy, and he did. Not straight away, but I think 2006 is when he became Shaggy when he auditioned for it. And since then, it's just like that's Shaggy.
Yeah.
I could understand why he never went back to do a live action Shaggy because they wanted to stick to direct to video format, and he's too old now to play Shaggy. But I feel like for the time that we had him on screen, the best performance ever.
Yeah, they should
He
definitely have done a third one back then, to come out 2006. Like, oh,
he knew how to act as Shaggy. So it's like that's what made it even more better. It's like Jim Carrey when he acts in that, like he moves in a certain way, he puts on a show for the viewers. And I think that's what Matthew Lillard done as Shaggy. Like he not only sounded like him, but he acted as well, like how scared and how Shaggy would walk, and the way he looks as well, with his arms out on the sides. Like he pulled it off. So he must have like studied that character to get into that role. So I'm glad he's the voice actor of Shaggy now. But again, it's going to be a shame when all these voice actors eventually retire and get replaced.
yeah, yeah, it will be. But I do feel like we've done a pretty good list this time. I think, like I say, the male characters of Mystery Inc. are going to be, for me personally, so much more difficult than, Daphne and Velma. Like, I'm thinking now about we're probably going to do a Shaggy list next. I don't have the faintest idea. I guess I'm going to have to wait and
Yeah,
see because
because
I'm lost. I don't have one name in mind, one look in mind.
what's really weird is
Nothing.
like Jack is a perfect one you can use twice because if he doesn't get Fred, he can definitely get Shaggy.
Yeah, a bit like Loki or Tom Hiddleston
Yeah,
auditioned
because
for Thor and got Loki. So we'll see. We'll see.
if you hear Jack's voice in The Boys, you can see how he like sounds very scared. Like it's a lot different how he is in Scream. I can tell you that.
I'm gonna have to watch it because I was thinking
That's what
more
threw me off. It's just
Scream
like I know
Jack
this person
Quaid
from somewhere. Then when he
versus
turns
the
full
boys Jack
serial killer, it's
Quaid.
like blew me away.
But yeah, I guess that does it for another video. Thank you so much for joining again, Mark. Like these
That's
are
okay.
just so fun. I want to just keep doing these, but eventually we are gonna run out of topics. I'm
I
afraid,
know.
but. It is good, but yeah, thank you so much for joining. And you know what? I just realized I've forgotten to do this quite a few times. Mark, for the people watching, where can they find you on the internet?
You can find me on my social media at Twitter at iGosLuigi. I'm also at Instagram at Mark Marsh 94. But you can also uh, communicate through me on YouTube on my channel in the community posts.
So I'll make sure to leave
Or on
that.
recent videos because I respond to comments,
That's true. We've got some
which
good
I'm
stuff
more
coming up.
active responding faster on YouTube comments than I am on Twitter.
Yeah, me too. Me too. But yeah, I'll make
And
sure
with Twitter,
to.
I'm on the feed, I'm thinking, oh, news, 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 news. Like a comment, and it's like I forget which one I messaged to because all these retweets, these reposts, and that. So I think I'm too old for that kind of stuff. But you can message me directly, which is a lot easier. But tweeting is so confusing because I get confused with each one.
Yeah, me too. Me too. But yeah, I'll leave that in the description down
You know
below.
what we should do? We should do a Q&A together. Ask your
Oh,
audience to ask us questions.
that would be an interesting one. I think
Do a
we're approaching
yeah,
episode 10, theoretically. So maybe for the 10th episode, we'll do that.
yeah.
We will
Ask your
do.
audience the questions you want to ask us, and we'll answer them.
That would be fun. But you know what? Yeah, that's a really, really good idea. So yeah, if you want to see that Q&A, comment down below. And yeah, like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next one.
And turn on post notification by ticking that
Yeah,
bell.
don't forget the bell and
Yeah.
smash the like button. Smash it.
And share it on social media.